They say some things once seen or heard can never be undone. You can pretend to move on, pretend it didn't change you, but deep down, you know you're not the same person anymore. That night was one of those moments for me, the kind that leaves a mark. Quiet, but permanent. Back in January, my best friend's parents were out of town, and I was staying the night at her house. It was supposed to be a simple, carefree weekend, two girls hanging out, watching movies, and laughing until we fell asleep. That's how it always was between us. We were comfortable, familiar, and close. But that weekend felt different. Something had been quietly sitting at the back of my mind for days. Her brother. I had the biggest crush on him. He was good-looking, confident in a quiet way, and had that easy charm that drew people in without even trying. He'd smile at me in passing, tease me over small things. And those little moments would replay in my head long after he'd left the room. I didn't think it was love, not even close, but there was something about him that made me feel seen. I had been holding on to those feelings for months, and part of me hoped that maybe, just maybe, something small might happen that weekend. Nothing serious. Just a moment, something real enough to let me know the attraction wasn't one-sided. That night, after my best friend went to her room, I lay in the guest bedroom wide awake, staring at the ceiling. My thoughts kept circling back to him. I wondered if he was awake too, if he'd been thinking about me the way I'd been thinking about him. The thought made my heart race. I told myself that maybe I could just go talk to him, nothing weird, just a late-night conversation. But deep down, I knew that wasn't really what I wanted. I wanted a sign that my feelings weren't all in my head. After what felt like forever, I finally worked up the courage to get out of bed. The house was quiet except for the faint hum of the refrigerator. I tiptoed down the hallway, the floor creaking beneath my feet. His door was slightly ajar, a thin strip of light leaking into the hallway. My palms were sweaty, my chest tight, and every step felt heavier than the last. As I got closer, I heard something that made me stop. At first, I didn't understand what I was hearing. It was soft, low, a kind of muffled sound that made me freeze in place. Then it became clear. Moaning. I froze completely. My first thought was that maybe I was misunderstanding what I was hearing. Maybe it was a video or something on his phone. But then I recognized the voices. Two voices. His and hers. My best friend. My heart dropped. I felt the air leave my lungs as the reality hit me. My best friend and her brother. The people I trusted most, the people I'd just spent the evening laughing with, were together, in that way. For a few seconds, I couldn't move. I couldn't even think. My body just went cold. I backed away from the door, one step at a time, until I reached the guest room and sat down on the edge of the bed, staring into nothing. Disgust, shock, anger, hurt. It all hit me at once. I couldn't wrap my head around it. How could she? How could he? How could this be happening under the same roof while I was right there? I had been so caught up in my own feelings, in my own little world of what-ifs, that I never even imagined something like this was possible. The thought made my stomach turn. I felt betrayed, not just by him, but by her too. I had told her everything, every little detail about how I felt, and she still did this. And he, the one who made me believe there was something between us, he was part of it. That was the part that hurt the most. The rest of the night was a blur. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I just sat there in silence, my thoughts looping in circles, trying to make sense of something that would never make sense. Every sound in the house made me tense up. I remember pulling the blanket around myself and staring at the wall until my eyes burned. I couldn't sleep. Every time I closed my eyes, I heard their voices again. The disgust kept washing over me in waves. When morning came, I already knew I had to leave. I packed my things quietly while the house was still half asleep. By the time I walked into the kitchen, they were both there, cheerful, casual, like nothing had happened. I couldn't even look at them. I made up an excuse about needing to go home early. She asked if everything was okay, and I forced a smile and said, "Yeah, I'm fine." He smiled at me too, that same easy smile that used to make my heart race, but now it just made me sick. Look, I left as fast as I could. After that night, everything changed. My feelings for him disappeared completely. It wasn't heartbreak, it was something colder. The crush I once had turned into a wall of disgust. I couldn't even think of him without feeling a mix of anger and shame, but losing him wasn't what hurt the most. It was losing her, my best friend, the person I'd trusted, laughed with, and confided in. That kind of betrayal cuts deeper because it's not just about what they did. It's about everything you believed in before you found out. She tried reaching out afterward, a few texts here and there. "Hey, how are you? We've been so quiet lately. Did I do something wrong?" Every time her name popped up on my phone, I stared at the screen, feeling sick. How could I tell her the truth? How could I even say it out loud? Some things are too heavy to speak. So instead, I chose silence. I replied less, made excuses not to hang out, and slowly, the friendship faded away. She never pressed too hard, and I never gave her a reason. It was easier that way, easier than reopening the wound. Even now, I still think about that night sometimes. Not because I miss her or him, I don't, but because it changed me. It shifted the way I see people. It reminded me that no matter how close you think you are to someone, there's always a side of them you might not know. And sometimes, that side is something you wish you'd never seen. That night took away more than just a friendship or a crush. It took away a kind of innocence, a kind of trust I didn't even realize I had. Now, I don't rush to believe that people are exactly who they seem to be. I take my time, I listen closer. Because behind every smile, every secret, and every closed door, there might be something you were never meant to hear. And once you do, you can't unhear it.